Ever been in a meeting where someone suddenly explodes, yelling over something tiny, and the whole team freezes? Or work with the one person who always needs to be right, no matter the cost? We tend to brush it off as stress or ego, but what if something is deeper? What if you're actually dealing with a high conflict personality? The kind of person who can quietly wreck an entire team.
In our last video, we introduced the idea of high conflict personalities, people who escalate conflict instead of resolving them. Today, we'll dive into the warning signs you can watch for at work, plus a simple rule called the 90% rule that can help you spot these behavior early before they damage your team or career.
Researchers and mediators have found that HCPs have four predictable traits. In a workplace setting, they might look like this or they might show up like this. Number one is the all or nothing thinking. For example, a coworker says, either we use my design or this project will fail completely. No middle ground, no compromise. Number two is undamaged or intense emotions. For example, someone bursts into tears or shouts in anger during a routine discussion about deadlines. The reaction is way out of proportion for the issue. Number three, extreme behaviors or threats. For example, an employee who feels criticized might retaliate by spreading rumors or making dramatic public threats to quit the team. Not because they truly want to leave the team, but because they want to regain power or they want to shift the blame over something on others. And number four is the preoccupation with blame. For example, that team member who constantly says it's always management's fault or it's always someone else's fault, or blames one coworker for every problem or setbacks that they face during the process, never once taking the responsibility for themselves. If you see all four of these in a person, you're likely dealing with a high conflict personality.
Now, here's a simple test the 90% rule. Ask yourself, would 90% of people ever do this? Would 90% of employees ever yell at a manager in the middle of a team call? Would 90% of colleagues ever publicly humiliate someone over a small mistake? Would 90% of people send 20 angry emails at 2 a.m. to their boss? If the answer is no, you'll likely see high conflict behavior, and that one extreme action can predict a pattern that repeats again and again.
To make it easier, we are using a method called WEB. It stands for words, emotions, and behaviors. So words means that are they filled with blames, threats, or all or nothing statements? Emotion stands for how do you feel around them? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel humiliated? Or do you feel like you're walking on eggshells? And behavior, are their actions always extreme? Things 90% of people would never do? If you see all three, the words, the emotion, and also the extreme behaviors, you have probably successfully identified an HCP in your workplace.
Okay, so let's say I notice these warning signs in a coworker. What's my next move? Do I confront them directly?
Actually, no, that's the biggest mistake that someone can make. Calling someone high conflict or accusing them of a disorder that they might have will almost guarantee you become their new target of blame. Instead, the smarter way is to stay calm or set clear boundaries and document interactions all the time. If needed, involve HR, but always focus on behavior, not labels.
The key takeaway is this high conflict personalities are predictable once you know what to look for. By using the four warning signs, the 90% rule, and the web method, you can spot them early and protect yourself from unnecessary drama at work. In our next video, we will look at particular strategies for managing these people day to day without losing your sanity.
I'll simply say goodbye for now and have a great, free, high conflict people in your workplace. Bye bye.